Well,
Yes, people. How we doing? Welcome back to the channel. We've signed someone, Bruno Guimaraes, for 75 million. It's not Solis, it's not Melier, it's Bruno Guimaraes. Nothing against either of those signings, of course, by the way, but this is an exciting one. And for me, probably one of the signings so far of the window. For me, alongside Yuri Tielemans, I think this is the best bit of business done so far. 75 million. The amount of Newcastle journalists now that are looking a little bit silly, the amount of Newcastle fans that all said, pay the 90 or go. Well, we held out. And I was one that was saying, get the deal done. Pay the money. We ain't going to get him otherwise. And for whatever reason, Arsenal believed they could haggle them down, and that's what they've done. Welcome back to Gooner to Gooner. It's myself, Chris, Kenny, and Russ, as always, on this 11 a.m. morning. Hit like and subscribe, people. Let's get up to 70,000. You guys have been amazing with your likes and subscribes of late, and it's absolutely flying. So this community is growing. Do me a favor and follow okjersey.com. All of the new Arsenal kits are out. The third kit is out. The home and away shirts are out as well. You can get any name and number you like on the back. Maybe you want Bruno Guimaraes. I imagine he'll wear number 39 because that's, I think, the number he will be carrying across. So make sure you go and sort yourselves out on OK Jersey. Make sure you use the code 12MAN. Let's start with Chris. Chris, me and you have been back and forth on WhatsApp. Have we got any news? Now we've got the news we wanted, mate. 75 million pounds for Bruno Guimaraes. What's your thoughts as this is breaking today, this morning?
I'm just it's all over. I don't think I've ever known a transfer where there's been so much, what's the word I'm looking for? Bullshit spoke. You got all the Northern journalists saying it ain't happening. Rubbish. He's staying. There's no direct contact. Then you got all the journos down here saying, no, it's happening. I've never known a deal where I couldn't trust anyone, basically, except obviously the obvious three. The end of Ornstein and Fabrizio, and that's it, really. Now, my next port of call is when do I think he'll make his debut? I'm looking at Como next week, but I'll tell you where he will. I think he'll play at the Charity Shield. And I think those spare 15,000 tickets that are available might all get gobbled up. But on the playing side of things, it's a wonderful deal. Gives us so many options in that. But basically, for me, it means we don't have to flog Declan Rice to death, which he has been. And it's really made an already squad even stronger. And I'm quite chilled now. If Vinicius comes, he comes. If he don't, he don't. That's where I am now, and that's me.
Russ, what are you saying about this deal, mate? I think it's a brilliant bit of business. I think he's a phenomenal talent. I've always been a fan of him, but what about yourself?
Well, I've always said on this platform that we just had to be patient and not throw our dollies out the pram when things didn't happen rapid. And I think this has taught a lot of us a bit of a lesson in patience, that we have to trust the people running the club now, because before we didn't trust them, did we? Let's be honest, we didn't trust them, and now I feel that they have earned the right with what happened last season to have that trust from me, and I think it's about time some gooners started to not be so critical of the club. And I mean, you know, I've always been one to criticise the club when they've been slack, when they've been lazy. Same. I've always been one to criticise the club, but now I'm just full of praise for the way we're being run. I'm full of praise for the way the club playing staff seem to have this fantastic bond together. It's all been grown organically from within, and with the sprinkling of magic dust that major transfers bring. So it took a long time. I might have said on WhatsApp group I was getting a bit browned off with all the to-ins and throw-ins, but that's not browned off with the club. I'm just browned off with the way the media handle everything, the way that some of our fans who have agendas, and I've had agendas with the club before, but you've got to give the boys credit running the thing now, that we're on a different level now. We're doing things differently. And I think this is a lesson to everyone, that we've got to have a bit more trust and faith and patience that they're going to do the right thing by us. And this is a fantastic signing. You say it'll give us more power in the midfield on days when we need it, especially away from home. It will give us the opportunity to rotate Rice, which is, that was an absolute must. That was an absolute must. I mean, I don't know where we would have gone if we couldn't have got this deal done. I'm a complete loss as to think what we could have done, because the squad is so good now. The quality of players we need to bring in is of such a high standard. They're hard to get hold of. And this is a wonderful football club. We're very attractive, but it's still hard to get these deals done with all the shenanigans that goes on with agents and the media and our fans putting pressure on the fans of Newcastle, who I do feel for, by the way. I do feel for, because we've been down this road where we've been building a team and we've had to sell our crown jewels just to keep going and to not fall foul of financial fair play back in the early teens, when we were selling Fabregas and we were selling Van Persie just to balance the books. So I know exactly how gutting that is and how frustrating that is. So my sympathy goes, that's a wonderful football club, by the way, Newcastle. I've always had the utmost respect for Newcastle. When we've been there on our away days, it's been a brilliant, brilliant trip. The Geordie people are very warm and friendly, and I've never had a problem with them. And, I will reiterate that I do feel for them, because it is difficult. There's a lot of nasty things being said to and fro from our fans to theirs, but not from my end. And I have a very good friend, Carl, who's from that way, and he's an Arsenal fan. He lives down here, and a lot of his family from up that way, and they are absolutely devastated about Eddie Howe going. They're absolutely devastated about losing two of their star players. So let's have a bit of humility. Let's have a little bit of class that we're renowned for, and start showing it a bit more, Gunners fans.
It's fair. No, listen, it's fair. There's a lot of talk that's been happening, because obviously you've got the likes of Newcastle fans that are upset. You've got the Newcastle journalists that have all said pay up. It ain't going to happen. 75 million, no chance. It's got to start with an 8. And Kenny, we've been patient. We've haggled down. And I think Berta and Kroenke and Arteta and co have done it for this deal. This is an absolutely phenomenal deal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's something that was always going to happen, on the basis that the minute the guy said he was going to leave Newcastle, wanted to come to Arsenal, it was just a case of Arsenal making their approach. 100% they're going to try and knock Newcastle down. The minute, they're not the only club that does this. Real Madrid do this all the time with players. Get the price down, because the players will say, I want to join Real Madrid, and they use it as a tool to get the price down. Liverpool did it with Isak last year, try to get the price down. We even did that with Declan Rice with West Ham, where they went to 115. We try to get them down, even lower than 100. In the end, we settled for 105. So it's a trick that every club does. I think that the middle field is really strong now. There's no weaknesses in that central midfield area. I still think people saying, oh, this could be the end of Zubimendi. The problem is Mendy's the only genuine number 6 in that team. So in essence, you have to keep him. One thing I will say, there's a lot of number 8s in there, and the number 8 situation will be very competitive. Odegaard, Guimaraes now, Eza, who's in that position. I still consider Declan Rice number 8. And I won't budge with that. And I think Miles Lewis-Skelly's probably in that category as well. But when it comes to genuine holding midfielder who could try and dictate the play, we've only got one. So you just don't know. But we've got no excuses. We've got options now. We can play horses for courses in midfield. So that's one area where you've got to shake the hands of the club. But I'm greedy. I want more. I want more. I'm not satisfied with the left-hand side. I'm going to have a look at Tollis maybe next week. But there's areas that needs to be done. But I'm conscious of the business side of things, where obviously we've got to look at getting some bodies out, because, yeah, it's good to have a big squad, but numbers-wise, sometimes you've got to reduce it. So I just want to sort of give a message to people who think that because we've got £100 million, that's all going to go in players, that we've got no debts because the stadium's all been bought off, and that we're not foul for FFP. Well, tell me something different. But we're also thinking of expanding the stadium. That costs money. I'm sure some of you guys have got letters telling you they might have to move your seats. That discussion hasn't stopped. So that's one. So we're not going to get a grant from Islington Council. Some of that money's got to go there. So maybe we do have to be a bit cautious with our spending. But yeah, left-sided and probably another forward we'll need as well. And then I think we'll have the perfect squad, because there are some players who, in my opinion, are surplus requirements, and you want to get a proper balance and challenge for all the trophies that we challenged for last season. Yeah, couple of areas we need to improve.
Do you know? I think they might sell to balance the books. Is Ethan? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. It's sad in a way, because simple reasons that you got two players who were really good for us in the 24-25 season, play a lot of games where there were injuries and showed that they're ready for first team football. But the thing with Ethan, he's another number 8, isn't he? Who plays in that position. So that's again, you got to look at that. And, will he get games? We might send him out alone to get some first team experience. So yeah, that is a worry for me, because he's a player I don't want to lose on the basis, not because of that sentiment, because I've seen evidence that he is ready for the first team. Just like Miles is. I yet to be convinced about Max. The potential's there, but those two, 100%, Ethan and Miles, are ready for the first team. However, there's a few players in front of them.
The problem I've got with the Ethan news, I'll come to you on this, Chris. I appreciate that he wants first team football and there's going to be clubs interested, but reports of 40 million euros. Well, if Garnacho is 40 million pounds, then Ethan Nwaneri is 60 or 70 million. Let's have it right. Yeah. And Arsenal have got to get better at selling. So Kenny's right. I think one of them will go. It probably will be Ethan Nwaneri. I'll be gutted if he does go. I'd happily let him go on loan, but I don't want him to go permanently. But we need to get serious money for these players if we're going to be selling them. That goes for Martinelli as well. And if it was a Martin Odegaard, or if it was whatever. I look at the sales that Chelsea have done, and they've got 30 million for Trevor Chalobah and 40 for Garnacho. We got about 15 for Trossard. Like, we've got to do better than this, man. We've got to get better at selling, man, because we're poor in that respect. So if we do sell Ethan, I don't want it to be starting anything less than a 6-0 upwards, because that's the sort of market that it is now, Chris.
Yeah, well, I agree. You could sell him. Well, what they're saying, they're talking about Leipzig, aren't they? Basically. Yeah. And Arsenal basically want to sell him, but what you could do is put a buyback clause on it. So, you could bring him back in a couple of years. I mean, I don't, because he's a Hale End boy. I never like to see any of our youngsters go. But unfortunately, for getting what I want, what we want, sometimes you got to think about what he wants. He doesn't be sitting on the bench. It's no good for anyone. If he went to Leipzig, he'd do well there. I think they'd look after him. But you're right, you can't be letting him go to peanuts. But then, what do we want for Vieira? They want Arsenal. Yeah, but he's not worth 20, Dan, is he?
No.
So why can't we do a deal there for 12 to 15? I would demand 20 for Jesus, by the way. Because I think he could go to another club and really flourish. As long as he avoids injury. But I wouldn't be surprised, by the way, if Martinelli stays. But that's me. We'll get onto that in a minute.
We can't sell Martinelli if we're not going to get in a left winger. We've got to keep what we got, right? So we'll come on to that in a minute. But let me stick with Bruno, Chris, for now, because we're going off to player sales and everything now. Let's stick with Bruno just for a minute. If everyone's fit, Chris, what's our starting midfield for you when everyone's fit?
I'll apply Rice and Bruno together. You got to.
And then who plays in front of them? Odegaard or Reze, basically, isn't it?
Well, Odegaard showed me at the World Cup he could be back to his best. So I'll go Odegaard. But if it's the Odegaard I've seen the last 2 seasons, it has to be Eze. But I'll wonder how many times that Bruno and Rice will play together. That'll be interesting. There's so many, you know what I mean. But I'll go back to what Arteta said after the Champions League final. He wants to play like PSG next season. Remember, he said that. So perhaps he's got a little tactical revamp that we don't know about, and then that's going to be interesting. And that's why we got to get this boy back into training, get him up and running quickly. So, funny enough, the game against Como and the Charity Shield take on quite a bit of importance now.
Without that, Russ, what about you, mate? When everyone's fit in that midfield,
Right, well, we were all stressing before the this transfer was finalised that Rice would be having to start for the first couple of months. Well, now we've got him in. Now we don't have to do that, do we? So my logical thinking, I'm thinking to myself, well, we can rest Rice for the first few games, and we can play Guimaraes and MLS maybe together, rather than Rice. I think Rice and Guimaraes will be our go-to in big games. I think we'll play both of them together in big games, but I think there might be a bit of rotation between the two. And I've always said this, I'm the same as Kenny, I've always said I think Rice is a better 8 than he is a 6. I just think he's more of a progressive player than just sitting in front of a back 4. I think he's more than that. And I think the proof of the pudding in that is when we played that season when he first came, I was sitting on the halfway line and I was watching him making runs down the left channel all day long. Now, is that a number 6? Because that's a strange number 6 if that's... And you were probably noticing the same thing, Ken, when we were attacking the North Bank end. He was playing in an 8, weren't he?
Yeah.
And so I think we've got I think we've got the squad now to in midfield to rotate tactically and physically, if that makes sense. So we can have a strong, more defensive-minded midfield away from home, and then we can go more aggressive like we did before Rice started to be dropping deep and picking that ball deeper, and like the same sort of position that Granit was playing in, more 8, linking up Martinelli and the centre forward, because that has been a big hole in the team, that left side, that 8 position. With what we've been doing, we've been much more solid. I mean, teams just can't get through us. But as Arteta said, if you want to play more adventurous, and you've got to have round pegs, round holes. So, I think you might see that more, in my humble opinion. And the boy Zolis as well. He looks exciting. I'm really, really impressed with the little thing I've seen so far of him.
I'll tell you something about Bruno, though. You won't get away with some of the fouls that he did in the Newcastle shirt.
Yeah.
Now. That's going to be interesting.
That's my only concern with him. He's got to rein it in a little bit. But, when you're playing in a better side, Chris, you won't probably have to go rushing around like a headless chicken. Because we're a bit more organised, and you ain't got to cover big, massive holes like he was. So
to be fair though, Russ, I will say, like he did. I don't think he did go rushing around like a headless chicken. I think Jorginho's head just got in the way. That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
that's what we'll say now.
You see him doing massive mileages, didn't you, for them, covering holes and spaces. Brilliant engine, brilliant attitude. But you say if you're playing in that way, then you are going to get more cards because you're going to make more mistakes. But if you're more steady and you're more in control in a game where we're in control a lot of the time, I think he'll be all right. I don't think that'll be an issue as long as he don't lose his temper and do silly things. But I just think he's a class act. I think it's a fantastic signing.
I always look at signings when we make them, when any team make them, and I always think, Kenny, would he walk into any of the other Premier League sides or any other European sides? I think the answer is yes to majority of them. I mean, look, he might not start for PSG and he might not start for Real Madrid if you want to go down that road. But I think when you look at it, all those clubs would go, yeah, we'll sign him. We'll have him. So for me, I think it's a phenomenal signing, Kenny. And I think what it will do is it will actually transform our midfield. I said this on the show earlier when I did a Bruno video on it earlier. Vieira and Petit and Vieira and Gilberto were the best I've seen. That's me growing up. obviously. I don't think we've had anything near that. And I think now, if you look at it individually, Bruno G and Bryce, they might be able to form a partnership that can get sort of anywhere near close to that. And I think if they do, even if they're half as good, we've got a phenomenal pair there in midfield, haven't we?
Well, we had a good partnership with Rice and Partey for a while in 23, 24, and most of 24, 25 when Rice played his best football. A lot of people talk about last season where Rice was very good, but I think I thought as a player in terms of a contributor towards the attack, where I think Rice is his best. That's when he played his best football. But I definitely will play him with Bruno Guimaraes. It's a shame for Zubimendi because I really thought Zubimendi would be that player. I really had big hopes for him. I thought he would settle so good. I mean, he may do. You just never know with this manager. I don't think that the last rights are on his career.
No.
So I still think that there's options there. But 100%, Declan Rice is an interesting one because he wants to come back from his holidays sharpish. So you don't be surprised if you see Declan Rice playing on the 21st of August against Coventry. That is one guy who just doesn't want to miss out on big games. But Guimaraes, one thing you can't take away from him, he's Premiership ready. So we have, as fans, we have a right to expect him to slot in really quickly. There isn't a situation with Azar where he had to because he was playing a very advanced role at Crystal Palace, he had to learn the way we play. I'm not saying Bruno won't have the same sort of problems, but the transition should be a lot easier because when Newcastle were at their best under Howe, they did kind of get men behind the ball. They did press aggressively. You have to look at the League Cup final against Liverpool. Got men behind the ball when Liverpool got the ball, pressed aggressively, which is how we play anyway at times. Yeah. And because we've got a bigger squad and better players, we can stay in it a lot longer than Newcastle do. When Newcastle play their best football in 22-23, they played a bit like us. And then, obviously, they lost a few players. They weren't able to maintain it the season after that. But 24-25, they maintained it again. It's no accident that in both those seasons when they played like that, they got to the Champions League and got to a final. This time they won it in 25. So the transition wouldn't be as difficult as it was Guimaraes. He's ready to get into the team. I'm not bigging him up because we signed him. It's just that the Premier League experience, the way we play, I think that would definitely suit. Whilst with Eza, that is an attacking player who's come to a side that's very organised. I hate to say it, but people like Pep, Bielsa, and Mikel, they're football Philistines in terms of they're Philistines. If you want to see football with panache and you want to play the violin and go for a concert, not a rock concert, a concert where, everything's beautiful. Pep, Bielsa, and Mikel have killed the game. They made it more organised, more pressing, win the ball back quickly, a physical, athletic game. But they win. So who knows more? Them. But it's not attractive to watch.
Well, look, let me come to you next, Chris. You've mentioned earlier that we're a little bit bloated in that midfield area now. Some are saying in the chat they played Dowman in the 10 because I've been amazed by him and how good he is. But obviously we have got Dowman to think about. We've got Ethan, we've mentioned, Odegaard, Marino, Havertz that he likes to play there, and of course Eza, who's been mentioned. That's quite a lot, Chris. Do we expect one of those to go at least?
No, but because Mourinho might play up front. He might use him. The wonderful thing about Mourinho, he can play anywhere, but I think he can end up playing more up front. The only person I think could go is Ethan, and that's it. He won't be selling anyone else, but you don't know, do you? So some big transfer fee come in for Odegaard or something, they might think, well, But if you put a gun to my head, the only one who's going is Ethan, I think.
Yeah, there's other players that need shifted out before we even talk to them, really. Ain't there? There's about 3 players we could talk about before anyone of our...
They're hard to sell, though. Don't you think they're hard to sell? Because I think the player that's we've been, I assume we've been trying to sell some of those players, and he has Reece Nelson It's got to be the hardest player to sell.
Mm.
Well, every season for the last 4 or 5 years, he's going to come good. He's going to come good. He goes out on loan, gets injured, comes back to us. You know he's got to go. But some of these players that we're talking about, the Reeses, Vieiras, they're hard to sell because they're not in the shop window. There's nothing. If I was a manager and I'm looking, I said, well, can you show me what he's done? He'll probably go to Germany, maybe someone from Portugal might take him back. But to get the money we need, unfortunately, sadly, you have to look at someone like Ethan, which I don't want to happen. And then you've got to probably kill the team spirit and look at other players as well. I mentioned Mick Odegaard. And I've mentioned Martinelli. Yes, it will kill team spirit, allegedly, but they're still players who I think you can get big money from, and they haven't played well for the last 2 years. It's just footballistically. It's not personal. It's footballistically. What do you wait another year of them being unproductive to make a decision to sell them, or do you sell them now, where you've just seen them? They've had a good. I thought Odegaard's had a good World Cup. Martinelli featured for Brazil. He's in a shop window. Sometimes you've got to think, well, can we get better than Martinelli? Yes. Can we get better than Martin? That's up for debate. But sometimes you want to get real money in. You shouldn't be afraid to break the squad up in order for us to win the Champions League and retain the league again. You're not doing it for the sake of it. You're doing it because you want Arsenal to do better, and you think you can get better players in.
Because what will really shake it up is Max, isn't it? Because the other night, I know it's only Girona and they got relegated, but I mean, he was really good. And if he continues at that progress he's on, I think he'll be playing.
He's playing wrong increase for me. So he's played. Rax's position is in the midfield. That's where he's going to be playing his best football. At the left-hand side, obviously, you find a place for him. But from what I saw of him in the juniors, of course, the juniors, I say, in that sort of number 8, number 10 role, I think that's where Max will play his best football. And probably we should be playing it. But as we know, that midfield is so congested. He's got to look at the right-hand side. But Saka's there, and Madueke, who frustrates the life out of a lot of fans. I think it's a coach's dream. I don't think he's a great player, but you have to look at what Mikel did in last year and what Tuchel did at the World Cup. That's a big problem for Max to get first-team football in those positions on the right.
The thing with what you said about us changing our style of play, I think you'll know if Mikel's going to change it if Odegaard is dropped for one of those players, because Odegaard is integral to that pressing game, to that winning the ball back high. He's integral to that. He's very, very good at that. His numbers, goals, assists, and goals are poor over. But is that because he's sacrificed his game to do more of the dirty work, more of the water carrying? So you'll soon see if Odegaard's getting in the team and we're still doing the high press game and we're not letting teams come on us and trying to counter attack them, which is the most attractive form of football for me. When you've got a strong defence, you can afford to let teams have the ball and hit them on the counter attack. If you've got really rapid players and good players in transition, which Odegaard don't seem to be as good at. He always seems to slow it down and take too much time releasing the ball. So you'll soon see, I think, after the first couple of games, what the MO is going to be and whether we're going to go for more of the same, a gradual change, or Odegaard's still going to be the cog in the wheel, which he undoubtedly is effective. I know a lot of people hate on him.
I don't think he's leaving.
No, I don't think he's leaving. But you say old Chris, but I just hear hate for Odegaard all the time. I don't get all the hate.
It must be an age thing.
Yeah,
it must. Most people I know, we all love him. I can never hate Odegaard. But
I don't
it
think
might
hate.
be.
I don't think hate. I think there's
No,
definite questions or concerns about whether he's the
Yeah.
right player to take us forward. I think that's fair. But I don't think anyone hates him. I think it's just they think we can get better. Would that be fair?
yeah.
Yeah.
But
So,
the thing is, Arteta loves him, so you know.
yeah, because he's
Yeah.
integral, isn't he?
Yeah, that is definitely a consideration, without a shadow of doubt. But I do think that sometimes, subconsciously and consciously, some fans, when it comes to the players I mentioned, Monaco and Martinelli, they think they're going to get back to 22-23. No, Martinelli played beautiful. Martinelli, Odegaard and Saka were beautiful. Doesn't matter whether you didn't win the league. Individually, they're beautiful. You know, the goals they scored, they're playing beautiful football. The season afterwards, Saka and Odegaard were beautiful, especially when we went in that late run after losing Liverpool in the FA Cup. Winning that run, they're fantastic. Unfortunately, they haven't met those standards.
Yeah,
Odegaard's could be injuries, could be anything else, and
do you
that's why.
think, Kenny,
Hmm.
do you think that might be because the system was changed and they had to do more work rather than being more influenced on the third?
Yeah, I suppose so. And sometimes it's hard to make that transition to what a team does move on. But the problem we've got is that if we're still playing the same way, we may need players who can fit that season and get against that. We can wait. You can't deny that his last two seasons there've been more questions than answers about Martin Odegaard, and Martinelli's just been pathetic. I know you want to talk. If you want to talk about the Champions League, crack on. But in the league, it's nothing. All right, he scored one goal against Man City, and that was brilliant. But if you want to be honest, Arsenal won the league because everyone contributed. There was no standout player with the exception of the goalkeeper. Everyone did their bit, even Madueke. Everyone contributed to us winning the league. It was a team effort, and the biggest star and the one who probably is going to claim the greatest triumph is the manager. It was his triumph. No doubt about that. I ain't got a problem saying that. I've got eyes. I'm not a pork chop. I'm not going to lie. That's how it looked to me. It was Mikel's triumph. He did it his way. And the squad followed suit, and everyone made contributions, which led to us winning the league. And that's how it
Just
should.
on that, Kenny, just really quickly, do you think, and I'll be real with you, do you think the reason we might see a change of style is not just because the fans want it, it's because Pep Guardiola is now gone and he feels like he can now let the shackles off a bit more?
Could be, but I think another thing as well, teams will work us out. If we play the same way, teams will find a way to stop us from doing our best, playing our best football offensively, and they'll work us out probably defensively as well. And that's what happens in football. Teams always get worked out. Teams began to work Man City out in 24-25 and 25-26. Hence the fact they didn't win the league. We gave them enough chances last season to win the league. There were home games where they couldn't break teams down because teams worked them out. And away from home, teams began to work them out. We began to work them out in 24-25.
The thing is, when I look at the teams around us, I mean, there's massive question marks. You're saying they might work us out, but are they good enough? Are they good enough to work us out?
It's not the teams around you that work you out, though, Chris. It's the teams who are just outside that, who usually play defensively against the big teams, and think, right, this team, we can't let that player come, and sort of make those runs. We can't let that guy play in the same position. They like to play out the back, so we're going to press them and we're going to give them other problems and I think that's the situation. In the last couple of years, it wasn't our rivals who gave us the most problems. It was teams outside that. The Bournemouths gives us problems. Crystal Palace occasionally, although we've had a good record of them, these occasional teams will give us problems. And I think coming into the season, I think it'll be those teams outside Liverpool, Man United, Man City, Chelsea who are going to give us problems because, again, everyone's got money, everyone's got can get better players, and everyone's got their own individual style. And let's face it, as I said, we gave Man City enough chances to win the league because we weren't perfect. We did drop points. We did lose the odd game at home and away, and it was a case where we just our determinations got us through. We didn't win at a canter, did we?
You know
No.
who I'm worried about? Who are you worried about next season out of interest?
What
Chelsea?
player-wise?
No, Chelsea.
Oh, right, sorry. Yeah, Chelsea. It is for me, yeah, Chelsea.
Yeah.
One game a week, and they got a good 11. Got Javi Alonso, who I rate highly. I think Chelsea will surprise. I really do. Man City will be there or thereabouts. Not sure about the others, though, Chris. I'll be honest.
No.
Yeah,
No,
I'll be
but
honest.
Chelsea, I think, and I don't like to say it, but I think the mob up the road will have a better season. I'm not going to worry about them.
They've got a better manager. They've got a better manager, Chris. They've got a manager who's very.
And they've had a good window as well, to be fair to them.
Yeah.
They've had a good window. I think they'll be better.
Yeah,
Man U, I'm not sure about Man U. Good forwards, I.
They're
not sure. Liverpool, if they get Barcola, but then they've still got problems at the back, big time.
Well, they lost
Konate. Yeah, so Villa. No, it's Chelsea.
Chris. You know what it is, Chris? One thing is guaranteed about Arsenal. We're going to be difficult to beat. There's no doubt about it. Even if we have players out resting players, we're still going to be able to break down. We're still, even if teams like winning 1-0 with about 10 minutes to go, they're always having in the back of their head, Arsenal going to get one. They might get two because that's how we play. We're not a soft touch no more. So but that may not be good enough to retain the league. It may be good enough to retain the league. But I'll tell you one thing, we won't be easy to beat. Just we haven't been easy to beat for the last 4 years.
Yeah. Our biggest problem might be ourselves.
Yeah.
Our biggest problem might be ourselves. We've just got to make sure we're up for it. When you're champions, you've got another dimension to the opposition playing against you. They're all trying that bit harder to beat you. So that's a thing we've not faced before. So we're going to have to overcome that ourselves mentally. That might be the biggest hurdle. As you say, the opposition, the jury's out on them all because we don't know. City winning that 4 times on the road. They had a marvellous player playing in his pomp during that time, Kevin De Bruyne, generational player. They missed him badly when he went, absolutely badly. So some players you can't replace, can you? Some players you just can't replace.
Do you think De Bruyne, you know, when I was talking about teams beginning to work at City, there were times in that last season, De Bruyne, he's left that as well. His legs went. I think that's why he left. Because his legs began to go.
It's punishing. It's punishing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Our league is the easiest to sell because there's so many teams, and I think the fans sell our league more than the players and the style of football. It's the passion and the crowds. You know, if you're NBC, you want a crowd shot, you just have to look at us three. Yeah, come on, mate.
Every stadium's full, Kenny. Every stadium's full.
Yeah, that's it. But I love the passion. But the football, sorry, it's I know it's a 9 o'clock. It's not the 9 o'clock watershed, but the football is formative.
Let me come to Chris quickly because I know that he doesn't have long. I'm going to put some names down the bottom of the screen, Chris. These are the ones that are being linked with moves from Arsenal. Like, it doesn't mean they're all leaving, by the way, before we start panicking. But there's a lot of rumours about there potentially being some bids coming in for these players and some of the players that need to go. Those players are Jesus, Nelson, Vieira, Martinelli, Ben White, Havertz, Madueke, Odegaard, Wanyeri, Lewis Skelly, and Victor Gyökeres. Now, I know we're not going to get bids for all of those players, but they have been loosely rumoured with potentially being considered, if money comes in, to be sold. Who from that list, and I'll ask Kenny and Russ this as well in a minute, to give them a bit of time to read and look at who they think. is potentially off on that list. Who do you think will end up probably leaving Arsenal, Chris?
Everyone except Gyökeres won't go, Havertz won't go, Miles Lewis said he definitely won't go, and Odegaard question mark, and the rest yes.
Okay, Madueke, do you think he might go, or do you think he'll stay?
I think if he's not getting game time and they get a big offer in, I wouldn't be surprised if he did go, but I doubt it, mate. You know, it's the ones we've spoken about. There's no way on God's earth they sell Miles. I saw that tweet, and that was someone talking a load of crap, actually. So Gyökeres would only go if they're doing an exchange deal, and Havertz, there's no way I'll give up Havertz. Tell you that now.
No, not happening.
No, it's just the obvious ones plus Ethan, sadly, but he's got to think about his career, and Odegaard possibly. But once again, Arteta loves him, so you know, just because we're buying players doesn't mean we have to sell them. You know what I mean? If we're going to go for, let's say we're going for 4 trophies, you're going to need a big squad.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree.
Also, Russ's thing about the mental, if you're to climb the mountain once is hard, but to climb it twice is going to be harder.
Yeah.
And that's why you do need a bit of fresh blood. I mean, Bruno's going to come. What's he won? 1 League Cup. He'll want to go for it, won't he? And say they bring in a Fresneda or dare I say, you know who from Madrid. You don't know, do you? Anyway, on that note, I'm going to leave. I've got to go. Nice to see you all.
Top man, Chris. See you next week, mate. Take care, mate.
See you later. Bye, mate.
See you soon, buddy. Bye,
mate.
Bye. Yeah, look, he's right. He's absolutely bang on, to be fair. And we'll come on to Vini in a minute. Once I've asked these two the same question. Look, I'll give my view very, very quickly on that list. Jesus, I think, will go. Nelson, Vieira will go. Martinelli, there's interest in Italy. I actually think he might go. Ben White, I'm not sure about. I think it all depends if we're bringing in another defender. If we do, Ben White, we might listen to offers. Havertz will stay. I think Madueke will stay. I think Odegaard will stay. I think Ethan will either go on loan or permanently, but I'm worried about that. And I actually think Lewis Skelly and Gyökeres will stay. That's my opinion. Obviously, that could change as the weeks go on with the window still open. But, Russ, what do you think out of those players below?
Yeah. Jesus, Nelson, Vieira. Wanyeri, I would love to see go out on a loan rather than be sold. I just think, and hopefully a Premier League team will take him on loan for a season. I don't want to see him sold. I just think he's too talented. Too much has been invested in him. I just think he's a great player in there, and I just don't want to see him flogged off. The rest, I think, they're all integral to the squad. So I just don't see any of the others. I think Gyökeres is laughable. I can't see us selling him. No, not after the effort we took to get him in the first place. I mean, you remember the saga with him. Blimey, that was about a 4-month saga, wasn't it? So, the obvious ones, Jesus, Vieira. And I think there was a player in Vieira, but I just don't think he was physically strong enough for our league. I just think he's too lightweight. Some slight players like Bernardo Silva, they thrive, don't they? But others, they just don't. They just get bullied and they just don't cut it. And I think he's one of them, unfortunately. He done well in Germany, didn't he? He was getting rave reviews over there. So I hope they can get him sorted out of a move. Nelson, as Kenny said earlier, been so unlucky with injuries. I mean, every time he's started to get a little run together, he got injured. It's just really, really a shame for him. Not going to disrespect him because he's a decent player in there as well, but time has come, I'm afraid, and they've got to find a way of helping him move on and move his career somewhere else. Jesus, injury blighted, gave everything for us, transformed us into a top 4 team when we were really struggling, along with Zinchenko. So we've got to be thankful to him for that. But he's another one who I don't think he'll ever be the same because of those devastating injuries he had. So how old is he anyways? He's about 28 now.
Who's that? Sorry.
Jesus.
Yeah, 28.
Yeah, so he's still got another move in it. He was really young, weren't he? I mean, he was at City really young. And, so he's still got a good move in him and a decent club to play for, I should think, because he is a decent footballer. So
I
those
think he
injuries.
just needs to go and revive his career back in Brazil and just get a few games under. That's what I think he should do now. With
Other
Jesus.
than that, I think everything basically the same. I think it's four things that need to be sorted.
Yeah.
And,
4 outs, 4 ins, Russ, maybe. 4 outs, 4 ins. You never know. Could be that. It could be that. What about you, Kenny? I know some of these names you're definitely going to want to sell. So go on, mate. Let's have it.
Well, I'll sell all of them. I'm only joking. Well, I think we've got to remember why Madueke is here and why he played for England. Madueke only came to Arsenal, only played for England because Bukayo Saka isn't fully fit, despite
Correct.
what he said after the third place playoff a couple of weeks ago. He's not fully fit. If Bukayo Saka was fully fit, Madueke doesn't play for Arsenal. If Bukayo Saka is fully fit, Madueke doesn't start games for England. Doesn't even get in the squad.
No.
He's a horse's. So he's staying at Arsenal because Saka's not fully fit. And if Saka's not fit, he's the next captain of rank. Sorry, Max Dowman fans. I deal with facts. I don't deal with feelings. And that's not being arrogant. The person who's doing this is not me. It's your manager. Mikel's doing this, not me. It's Mikel who doesn't see Max Dowman in the way that a lot of the fans see him. It's not me. And he's probably a player that probably should go on loan to get some game time so he'd be ready for the team, Max. But yeah, Nelson, another loan, because I don't think we'll be able to get money for him. Vieira, another loan. We won't get money for him. Martinelli, and if we get another body in, he can go. White, again, if we can get another defender in, he'll go. Odegaard, sentimentally, and because he's a captain, will stay. But he couldn't. This next season is important for him. If he's not at his best next season, regardless of injury, then I think the fans will come to the conclusion that we may have to look elsewhere, regardless of what we do next season. But I think sell Jesus, loan Nelson, loan Vieira, Martinelli stays if no player comes in. Oh, please don't sell Ethan, please. But I worry about Ethan. I'm really worried about Ethan. MLS stays. Gyökeres will fight with Havertz for the first team berth because I do think that now Havertz is fully fit. He'll be starting games over Victor Gyökeres. Not because he's a better player. It's because he fits what Mikel needs and wants up top. That's harsh from Victor. But again, I haven't seen any evidence to disagree with the manager. But those are the players, I think. So Jesus, sell will go. Nelson, Vieira, loan. Martinelli stays if we can't get another left winger. And then everyone else stays. Ethan, worry sick about.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm worried sick about Ethan Waneri because I really like the kid and I just think he's going to be a top talent. I hope if we do sell him, it's a loan, or if we do sell him permanently, then it's a buyback clause for sure. Let me move quickly because we haven't got long to talk about Vini Jr. Before I do that, we come to a close. Let me just bring these supers in from people who have paid their money very kindly. We've got Straight Cannon who says, big up, guys. We would rest Rice into the Chelsea game. I actually think that is what we'll do. I know a lot of people saying don't see him till November. I know Declan Rice. He'll be coming back for that Chelsea game, I think, personally. Kai says the games we've got left is Real Betis, then Dortmund, Como, and then City. Yeah, it's a short pre-season. Before we know it, we'll be lining up against Coventry. Netweed says we can breathe a bit now, Dan. Bruno. Now let's chin up and onwards with Project Vini. Dictation. We're going to come on to that, Netweed, that's for sure. Next, Netweed also has jumped in to say Odegaard lacks goals, Russ, in our attack. That's poor. I think he lacks goals and assists, to be honest with you. I totally agree with that. Finally, Arsenal and City is actually a rivalry. I don't even know if it still is at the moment. I think it still needs to do a lot more for that. And Dominic, there should be a top 7 with Villa in it, with the rest of the top 7 being Arsenal, Villa, Chelsea, Liverpool City, Man United and Spurs. Yeah, look, there's a lot of talk yesterday on one of the panels on Monday night about how Villa should now be in the top 6 and not Spurs, or the big 6, and not Spurs. They've won more trophies than them, and Spurs have finished 17th twice. Look, it's a definite conversation. Before we go into that, though, I just want to bring up this quickly, boys, about Vini Jr. Now, there's a lot of talk about it. I hear it, and there's a lot of talk today that he's having a meeting. Apparently, that meeting is already over. I don't know how quick it was, but from my understanding, it was pretty quick. The Real Madrid CEO apparently has already left the building and has done one. Now, I don't know if that means he's signed Vini and he's happy and he's off, or if it means he stormed off having a right hump and he's now leaving the club. I don't know is the answer. That is the latest from Madrid Zone, and a few other ones reporting it. Apparently, they've had a quick meeting, very quick. He's either said, yeah, I'm signing, or he said, no, I'm leaving, I'm rejecting it. We'll find out. I think tomorrow there'll be an announcement about this. My gut feeling is he will sign with Real Madrid. That is my gut feeling. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm completely clueless, and I don't know what I'm talking about, and Dan Potts is an absolute muppet. That's what I hope everyone's saying tomorrow. I think there's 80% chance he stays at Madrid and a 20% chance he's signed for Arsenal.
80, Dad. What, that low?
Look, some people say 90, 100%. But for me, I'm being realistic about it. I think 80% he's going to stay at Real Madrid and he's kicking off for a new contract. 20% of me, half of that's hope, is that he will actually say, I'll consider Arsenal.
Is Arsenal the only club that's going to be interested in Vini Jr.?
No, and that's what will come next. That's what will happen next. If he does say, I'm rejected Madrid, everyone will come in for him. That will happen.
Do players in their prime reject? Do players actually want to leave Real Madrid? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll play for nothing for them if they'll have me.
Yeah.
It's Real Madrid, isn't it, Russ? No, it's Real Madrid.
There's stuff going on there with Mourinho. I think. I don't think they reckon they put it all behind them. What happened with Benfica? I don't know if that's true. The fact that the club came out and said Real Madrid are going to play different next year, and then Mbappe's going to be playing on the left, which makes him a spare part for what, 80 minutes of games probably.
I don't know, man. If Mbappe plays on the left, they're going to get another striker in, isn't it? Or will they?
I'm not too sure on their playing staff, what they've got up front at the moment. I'm not too sure if they've got an actual dedicated centre forward other than Mbappe. I'm not sure. I know I see Dave in the stream. Dave going absolutely doolally last night.
I forgot about him. Yeah, but you know the thing about Real Madrid. You know Carlo Ancelotti. You know there's good Carlo, but there's very bad Carlo. What I mean by bad Carlo is that I think that not just Carlo. I think Alonso tried to organise it, but they weren't having him. Yeah. And Arbeloa was Arbeloa. I think Mourinho's been brought on to organise things, especially from the three best players, get them to play together and get a system that suits Real Madrid and them. But I do think that Carlo Ancelotti, you saw it in Brazil. Plan A, excellent. But when there's a plan B, he struggles. He struggled at Real Madrid. And I think that's why I'm realising. But Vini Jr., mate, I think it's just more money and more importance or something. Because I don't see him come to Arsenal. However, if he does come to Arsenal, and this is like a big if, and this is hypothetical. We've got to build a side around him, Russ. We can't play the way we play. You've got to genuinely player. Side around him, Russ.
Yeah.
Russ.
Can I just say something on Vini? You imagine, right, George Best playing in that Man United team, right? And there's George Best number 2, who's just as good as him, or perhaps 3% less good as George Best, and he's playing at Man United, and he can't get in the team. What's he going to do? He's that good. Yeah. What's he going to do? He ain't going to stay, is he? He's going to go. When you're that good, Kenny, you want to be playing. We talk about squad players.
But Mourinho is one of the best managers in the world. Probably not now. He's not the same manager as before. But even he knows that Vini Jr. starts games alongside Mbappe and development. Jose Mourinho was brought in to get those three playing together week in, week out of Real Madrid, and he's there because they feel if they play through a fluid system, they'll win the Champions League again and the La Liga. But the Champions League's their baby. I mean, it must have been a kick in the teeth to see, PSG, a team that they feel they're superior to, win the Champions League twice and dominate and look like a team. No one's talking about Real Madrid being a team to beat in Europe. It's PSG, and rightly so.
Yeah, but you get where I'm coming from, don't you?
Definitely.
These players, great players, have massive egos, and Vinicius Junior should have probably won the Ballon d'Or 2 years ago. He was on fire.
He should have. He had to. I think it was like, I think someone threw a catapult in his eye just to humble him by not giving it to him. It was the biggest. It was spite not giving it to him. I'm not saying it because I'm a Vini Junior fan. It was so obvious he had to win it, and for him not to get it, was again. It's 11 o'clock. It's a 9 o'clock watershed, but there's not enough dirty words for me to use when I heard that Rodri got it instead of Vini Junior, and every reasonable football fan knows he was robbed that year.
Yeah. So if you're Vini Junior on that basis, and you're playing with Mbappe scores 35 goals and gets 7 to 18, between 7 and 18 assists or whatever, he's going to win the Ballon d'Or, ain't he? So if he's that way inclined, if he's that egotistical, he might well say, well, I've got to go somewhere else. Now, if he comes to Arsenal, scores 30 goals, we win the Premier League and the European Cup, he's nailed on to get the Ballon d'Or then, isn't he? Nailed on.
I mean, can you imagine it? There's an Arsenal bias against. I mean, Henry was playing some of his most beautiful football, and Nedved got it when Henry should have got it. Remember that time?
That was a joke.
Remember that year? Nedved over Henry.
Yeah.
That was the one that robbed. I think Lewandowski got robbed as well of the COVID one. Obviously, Henry got robbed and Vini Jr. got robbed. But there is actually some news coming out. And look, the Vini stuff, we don't know. That'll happen. I imagine that will be spoken about tomorrow, not today. There'll be a lot of rumour. We've spoken about Bruno G being signed. We've got to talk about another player who we seem to be serious about. And I'm not sure what I'm thinking about this one, if I'm honest with you. I'll put it up on screen so that we can discuss it. Apparently, Aston Villa are braced for a fresh bid from Arsenal for Konza, 28 years old. Arsenal's initial proposal was well below Villa's 60 million valuation, who are not under financial pressure to sell him. Konza's a key target for Arsenal and they're unlikely to give up their hope. What do you think of this one, Kenny? Konza to Arsenal, £60 million for a backup defender. He's obviously going to start him if he does come in for Saliba being out, but then he goes back to being a backup. Do you think this would be good business for Arsenal, or do you not see it happening?
Excellent business, because he's a top player in the international, and he's a top defender. He's not just a top defender by design; he's a top performing defender. And he's a player that I definitely liked. And I thought he had a fantastic World Cup. But please, Arsenal fans, don't say that he could play right back, because when you say he could play right back, we might play him there. Let's just play him at centre half. One thing I'll have to do, and this is like a jest thing I'm saying. If I was him, I'd get rid of all his posters from when he was a kid and all his social media, because Konza, born and bred in Forest Gate, is a Tottenham fan growing up. So just remember, Gerald, if you come to Arsenal, make sure there's no evidence of you and your Tottenham love, because I got the receipts, mate. So make sure all your receipts are gone. I got the receipts.
What do you reckon, Russ?
Konza, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure on that. I think the reason he got in the England team was because there's a bit of a lack of great defenders, to be honest. Something about his game worries me. I can't put my finger on it when I've watched him. I think it might be a concentration thing. I don't know. Just listen, if he comes,
he's got his spirits.
Yeah.
Do you think we're looking at him for? I always say, right, that up until about 20 years ago, I always thought of certain players ain't for sale, but because I saw what's happening with Arsenal during the Wenger years, especially even when we won titles, every player's up for sale. Now, I'm not trying to mischief, mate, when it comes to our good friend Saliba. He's injured. I always fear one day he's going to go to the management and says, "I want to join Real Madrid." I fear it.
That is inevitable.
You know, I fear it. He's
That
one
will
player that I think I never get attached to players, but I do get close to get attached to a footballer. I'm close to attachment with Saka. I've always liked Saka. I like Saliba. He's one of my, I feel like he's one of my nephews.
Favourite defender, without that.
And I'll be scared to lose him. There's other players that I got attached to. I used to love players like Monreal, Mertesacker, because I thought that they never let me down when they played for Arsenal. But these two are special.
Do you know what it is with Saliba? With players like Saliba, the ball's going towards him, and you look somewhere else because you know he's going to deal with it, and you're looking where he's going to go next. You don't even worry about him, other than that little period in February where he was coming out with the ball. And he was like losing it, and he was like he was slow coming out. You could see he was struggling then. And if we'd have had backup then, I think he would have been taken out of the firing line. And he would.
Do you both agree that he's the best player at the club? I actually think Saliba's the best player at the club. I'll be honest.
He's the player I worry the least about when he's on the ball and when he's defending. He's unreal.
You know, you got me thinking, Dan. You really got me thinking because I always talk about Saka in glowing terms. I like David Raya. Declan Rice, I can't deny. But on footballing ability, just genuine footballing ability, 100% agree with you, Dan.
Do you know what it is, Dan? What it is? When you're watching Saliba, you think he's always got another 15, 20% in him. You always feel like he's playing well within himself. He's just got that calm look about him and his demeanour when he's playing and everything. You just feel like him. It really came on top. There's a bit more there, and he never has to. In 90% of the games, has to show that. In the big game, he shows it. He turns up in the big games. But absolutely, what wonderful talent. And let's remember rightly, the manager got slaughtered, didn't he, for putting him out on loan at the beginning, if you remember rightly.
You think that's personal problems?
I was one of them, by the way. Why are we spending 70 million? Whatever
I was one of them as well. But again, I didn't understand it. But I don't know. I have to put it down to the fact that it was personal problems, and that he had personal problems. He needed to be in his family. I have to assume, because on footballing ability, he should have been in that team a lot earlier than he was in 22-23. I mean, when he played, I thought, I actually wanted to throw something at Mikel, and it wasn't flowers. Because I was thinking, when I first saw him play, what? You sent him on loan? We all felt that, didn't we?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it when I first saw him.
Probably it was proved right.
Yeah, but even so, when you saw him play, you went. I was in shock. I went, this guy's one of the best centre halves I've seen in years. I don't get excited about centre halves. When I saw him, I got excited. I mean, people were telling me, some French people I knew, they said he was the Mbappe of defenders. I said, yeah, all right. When I saw him play, I went, mate, you're right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I would say? I agree with both of you there, actually. I think it was the right decision for Saliba, but it was the wrong decision for Arsenal. And the only reason I say that is because when I look at Saliba and I think, get him on loan, because we've got big Rob Holding at the back. He ain't getting in this side. It's rubbish. Right? He should have played for us. He should have carried on. But it was right for the player, so I hear that. But it wasn't right for us at the time. We had Luiz, Holding and Socrates and Chambers. Sorry, man. That was poor.
World-class defenders. World-class players.
We should have had Saliba in there.
if the manager's got the gumption, right, to put a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old, Wanyeri and Bauman, into the team, into the first team full of grown men, if he's got the gumption to do that and the balls to do that, then I think you have to trust him that he really wants them to succeed and he really wants them to be part of it. That's the whole point of it.
Circumstances change, though. Do you think
circumstances change? Yeah, circumstances change. But the thing with the Saka, Madueke, Bauman argument is that we're trying to pinhole him into being a right winger when he ain't. He's a So the fact that he's got them in front of him, doesn't concern me. The one he's got in front of him really is Odegaard. So Odegaard's what you're looking over his shoulder because he's the one who's under threat. Now, I haven't seen Max Dowman's pressing game and his ball retention game. I've seen him being very direct and going forward and being very, very.
You see what Pep did? See what Pep? You see what Bielsa, Pep, and Arteta done to this beautiful game. The first thing that came in your head, what's he like a pressing?
Yeah, because that's part of our game.
That's Philistine, Pep Guardiola, Bielsa, and Mikel have done that. Player. The first thing that came in your head was, can he press? See what they've done to you, Russ. These Philistines in the game.
On the positive side, Kenny, what I'm told, all the football pundits always tell us, right? The best form of defence is attack. So if you're pressing in the upper half, you can't get scored against, can you? I know it ain't the pretty thing to watch and it become a bit robotic, but that is the way of the game now. The game has gone that way.
Yeah,
you're going to change that.
You don't
change that is we start playing 4-4-2, playing big man, little man up top, and we break the mould.
Look, man, if you're going back to the Davy Speedy and Kerry Dixon days, 4-4-2, man, at Chelsea. Remember those ones?
Yeah, Cotty and McAvenny.
Cotty McAvenny.
Yeah.
I remember those. Alan Sunderland, Frank Stapleton.
The other little one, can't remember his name.
What's that?
Been loads.
Yeah, but you know what? I shouldn't really mention Frank Stapleton because if you see him in other shows, I hate that man. Oh, he is such. You know what? It's not the watershed, and there's a category of players who I think are treacherous to Arsenal. Francesc Fabregas, Frank Stapleton. Oh God, those two, never forgive them. Absolutely, I don't want to hear their names associated with Arsenal. Francesc Fabregas, who's actually coming back next week to the club, and
you're going to boo him, Kenny. Are you going to boo him?
You know what I want to do to Francesc Fabregas? Every time, if I come the wrong way to the ground, I see his little flag there. I want to take it up. I'll get done for vandalism. What is Francesc Fabregas flag doing at the Emirates? Or I go past and I see him on there. Francesc Fabregas.
Well, be careful what you wish for, Kenny, because if Mr. Arteta leaves, he could be.
I know. Well, the only thing good about Francesc Fabregas is Francesc Fabregas wants to play football how I like to be played with a violin. He's talking a good game, and I think football needs Francesc Fabregas to be successful at playing that way.
I think he will be. I think Fabregas will be a brilliant manager. I've got to be honest. I don't know what next for him, obviously, at Como. But look, I wanted to close, because we do need to close now. I wanted to close with this question real quick, and the chat can get involved in this as well, by the way. Me and Turkish did something for Betway, which is going to come out pretty soon. And we had to pick the top 10 greatest Arsenal players. And we come to a disagreement at the end about who's number one and who's number two. I put Bergkamp at number one. And Thierry Henry at number two, and Turkish put Thierry Henry at number one, and Dennis Bergkamp at number two.
It so agrees with me.
So I picked Bergkamp, he picked Henry. It went to production, who was actually an Arsenal fan, and he picked Thierry Henry. And I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Kenny obviously agrees with Turkish and goes for Thierry Henry. What would you say, Russ? Who was a better footballer? I think he's Bergkamp.
I think the reason why I lean towards Dennis is because it was almost like a Vinicius Junior moment, weren't it? when you turn teletext on. And my father-in-law, Jim, was a massive Arsenal fan, played for the supporters club as well. And he messaged me when I had my shop. He went, Russ, go and look at turn CFAX on, turn teletext on. He goes, we've signed Dennis Bergkamp. I went, shut up. He said, he ain't going to come to us. He went, go and have a look. I went out, and I couldn't believe my eyes. And it was like us signing Pele or getting George Best from Man United or getting Kevin Keegan from Liverpool. It was like an unbelievable signing. And it was the change. It was the change in Arsenal that David Dean had started to instigate, along with Rioch was the manager, wasn't he, when he brought him in? But it completely changed the face of Arsenal Football Club. All of a sudden, people went, "What's he want to go there for? What's he want to go there for?" And then, a bit like Vini, what's he want to go there for? We want to go Arsenal, bloody Arsenal. And when you see him playing for the first 7 or 8 weeks, you thought, I don't know if this is going to work. And all of a sudden, he started to click. And what a footballer. And I've always got that image of that goal at Newcastle where he does a reverse pass round. Dabby's ass, was it? Dabby's ass, yeah. And slots it in the corner. And the goal we scored against Leicester in a 3-3 draw. And
Matt Elliott.
when you left him on his arse.
Yeah.
And it was because he was the start of something. He's the reason.
Hold 2 seconds.
It's why I tip the nod to him. It's a tiny fraction, but because of that reason, it was. But Henry 1-on-1, or Henry on the outside of the box with the way he shot and his accuracy, and the only thing Henry had missing in his game was being able to head the ball. If he had that as well, he would have been one of the best players of all time. I think he only scored a couple of headers for us, didn't he, in his whole career. He was that good and he was that quick. And, I think I'd say it's 10.1 to Bergkamp, 10 to Thierry. Because of that reason, only that reason. But both mind-blowingly good, privilege to watch players. Unbelievable.
I've got something controversial to say, but I mean it because I love them both. Thierry gets it for me, not because of the Vavavoom or that Vavavoom. And Thierry was more consistent for Arsenal than Dennis. Dennis gave us moments. See, I'm closing my eyes because I feel really bad saying it. Dennis gave us excellent moments, but he only had, for me, his greatest seasons for Arsenal were 98, 97, 98, and part of 98, 99, and parts of 2001, 2002, was Henry, after he got his renaissance from 99, 2000, November 99, up until the day he left, he was always, up until 2006, he was more consistent.
Do you know what? There's one thing about Bergkamp as well, Kenny, was he's a very honest player. If he felt he wasn't right, he wouldn't play. He would tell them.
Yeah, I think he's what modern managers would call a Philistine, because modern managers like players like Declan Rice, who will play for injury, and Bukayo Saka play for injury.
He wouldn't do it.
You know, Dennis Bergkamp refused to play for it, and I think he wouldn't struggle when he played. But I love Dennis, and I always say, you know what I'll say, and this is the biggest cop out ever. You're both right. You're both right, and I'm right as well. We're all right. If you tell me Dennis was the best player, you're right. And if I told you Henry's the best player, you're right. There's nothing between them, to be honest.
Yeah.
Really?
I agree. Do you know what swayed it for me out of the two? What swayed it for me, because I had to do it in front of the cameras and not, Turkish gave brilliant debate about why it was Henry, because it's very hard not to pick Henry. And I gave debate about Bergkamp, and now it's not Ving. I think if Bergkamp and Henry both played without each other, that's why Bergkamp tips it for me. Because I think Thierry Henry scores many less goals without Dennis Bergkamp alongside him. Not that he wouldn't have probably broke the record of Ian Wright still and done brilliant for us. I think Bergkamp made Thierry Henry better. I'm not sure Henry made Bergkamp better. I think Bergkamp made everybody else around him better, and that's why I picked Dennis. But it's close. It's close.
It is so close because and that's the reason why both of them got statues. You can't pick between them. You know, it's what you prefer. I genuinely believe that. I think the reason why Dennis gets it over Henry is because despite what I said about those 2 seasons, 97, 98, and parts of 98, 99, and obviously 2001, 2002, they were so out of this world that can equate to the consistency Thierry Henry gave us. That's why it's so close. And that's why neither of us are wrong. Turkish is not wrong. You're not wrong, Dan. Russ, you're not wrong. And I'm not wrong. You can't pick between them.
No.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's very tough. It was a good question. But I'm not going to tell you the order. You'll have to go and see it. It comes out soon.
I'll tell you one thing. Robert Pires, if Robert Pires doesn't get in there, I'm going to horsewhip both you and Turkish. If Liam Brady doesn't get in there, I'm going to have words. I'm going to horsewhip both.
It's only Premier League, unfortunately, Kenny.
Oh, that's a cop-out.
I know.
Didn't exist before 92, 93. What a cop-out.
Apparently, it's only the top 10 Premier League players. So, yeah, I was expecting Liam Brady and all these guys to come up, but no, it didn't happen.
Is Pires in there? Please tell me Pires is in there. Was he in Turkish's one?
Yes, he is.
Good.
Yeah, he is.
Can I just give a quick shout out to someone? He's been He's been pestering me for weeks. My mate Bobby Swain, who lives in Loughton, where I used to live, big West Ham fan. Thanks for Declan, mate. And he's actually a fellow who used to go Arsenal all the time in the 70s with all his mates because a lot of people on the estate used to follow Arsenal and West Ham. So he used to go and get on the sauce with them all up the North Bank. And
North Bank.
Big up Bobby, man. Big up Bobby.
Big up Bobby Swain, my mate, my official mate.
Bob. All right, Bob. What was Russ like? Russ like as when he was younger?
Tell me some
stories. Russ like as a kid, man.
Hey, you know what? Thanks to Russ for doing it because I got a shout out as well. I met someone because I was at a carnival outside London, and I got people just were looking at me. You know when people squint, and I think, is it him? Well, 4 people came to me and said it was in front of me. It's a guy Jay. Is at Leicester Carnival, and he wanted a shout out as well, and he watches all our stuff. And he definitely watches his shows. So Jay, hello. And we had a picture as well, Jay. Yes, it is me. And yes, I'm a bit bigger than I look on TV. But yeah, he asked for a shout out as well.
Big up Jay. Big up Jay. And Bobby. And all of you guys, man. Do me a favor, hit like and subscribe. This show has been mad. Everyone enjoys it. So please show some love by hitting like and subscribe. We've hit 62,700. Let's get up to 63 and 70 pretty quickly. Thank you, mate.
You deserve
appreciate that, boys.
Hard work.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate that. Let's do these supers and we'll get out of here.
I don't want to embarrass you. I don't want to go red as a beetroot, but just shows you one thing, right? When you work in an industry like this, it's more important to be nice rather than it's nice to be important. You deserve your success because you've never wronged anyone. You've never been horrible about people. You've been kind, considerate, and you've been you. And I think that if you want to work in this industry, whether it's new media or the media, you're an example of someone who does it the right way. And I just say to all you YouTubers out there, it's not nice to be important. It's more important to be nice because people want to work with you. Brands want to work with you. TV want to work with you because guess what? It's nice to be easy to work with.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
And also, one of the big lessons in life, it's a long way to the top, but it's a rocky road coming back down again.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Cheers, guys. I appreciate you and I appreciate all of you guys and everyone for watching and all you guys in the chat. I really do. We'll come to a close with these super chats and we'll get out of here. Nettweed, I'm 60-40 for Vini. Why not join Bruno and then face him and likely lose in the Champions League again? What will great Jose Mourinho do for him? He's done it all at Real Madrid. Let's see what happens. That will be announced, I think, today or tomorrow. His decision. Netweed said the issue is the top teams don't have an outright best player these days, unless it's Messi level or something. Bayern Munich have Elise, Musiala, and Kane, and PSG have at least 3 obvious danger men. And so do Real Madrid. I think so do Arsenal, to be honest. I think that's why we debated it. I think a lot of people in the chat suggested when I did the poll that it was Declan Rice. I would pick Saliba. It's all on 70% people thought it's Henry. So
Yeah.
it's all
Our
about
star players tend to be more in the defensive part of the park rather than the attacking part.
Well, only because Mikel's our manager. Only because Mikel from the Basque is our manager. I'm sure I'm sure it'd be the same if George Graham was manager. So it's not just Mikel that I tell off, but obviously Arsene from the Alsace Lorraine, it's going to be forwards are going to be our greatest players.
Yep, absolutely. Cosmin, thank you for the super. You've also come in and say, who accepts a bet? €200 that Vini Jr. will come to Arsenal. Would you bet that, Kenny?
Oh, no.
I'll tell you one thing. Save your money and you put that towards a deposit for a holiday next year. He's not coming to Arsenal.
Nah, come on. We've got
we're that extreme, but I'm not too funny. I'm not too funny, man. There's a lot of fairy tales going around. I know Walt Disney sometimes comes back from the dead, but just I'll tell you where Vini Jr. will be playing. When the Champions League starts in November, we play that, Beethoven's music. You'll see him in the white, and he'll be going around trying to take a penalty because he always takes a penalty and he'll miss a penalty. And it won't be for Arsenal, it'll be for Real Madrid. That's who we're playing for next season.
I agree. I think it will be Real Madrid. What's your gut on this last before we go, Russ? Do you think he'll be wearing white or red and white?
I just got a feeling he won't be playing for Real Madrid, but I think there'll be a twist to the tale. I think there'll be an interest from somebody else that will put a kibosh on it. That meeting today is weird, isn't it? Something as important as that don't just get done in 5 minutes, is it?
No.
They're quite a way apart, aren't they, from their Madrid are quite adamant they're not changing their image rights. That's not negotiable. And the other thing was this massive signing on fee he wanted. Now, obviously, he can play hardball, can't he? So, well, I'm not going anywhere then and wait till next year and then go to the highest bidder next year, which could be what's been decided as well. So that would be I would honestly think he might stay. 6 months he can negotiate. 5 months 4 months now, isn't it? January he can negotiate with who he wants, and then he can get a deal. And then panic stations at Madrid because they've just done a load of money. So it's entirely in the players' hands. This is where it all went right for the players and all went wrong for the clubs with the Bosman ruling because they held the registration no matter if the contracts ran out and you could still get a fee. Whereas now it's a mess, really. This is why we have these pathetic transfer windows, which I hate. I hate these with a passion. My mate Carl loves them. He loves all the drama. I hate the drama. I just want to know where I am and who's staying and who's going. And it's just enough stress in our lives about this.
You know what it is with football? I would say that everyone's dirty. Sometimes the players rule the roost, but it's only when they wanted. You always got to remember there's players when they're not wanted, what clubs do to them is shocking. I mean, I go back to the 50s, a West Brom legend. He got told he wasn't wanted. So they sent him a letter to his house that he weren't wanted. You know what I mean? And then you've got look what happened with Mikel Antonio, Karen Brady, the awful Karen Brady. The minute they forgot everything he'd done. The minute he's in a road accident, she's only offering him £1,000 a week. And she's done that to quite a lot of players when they get injured. So it works both ways. Clubs are very good at blacking a player's name, but when they don't want you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Interesting. Listen, we're going to. I don't know who that is. Okay, that's done. Look, we're gonna love you and leave you, people. We're gonna send you over to LB. LB's doing a watch along at the moment. Do me a favour, go and say Dan Potts right and just say Bruno, hold that because he wanted him and he's jealous.
Is he a Man City fan?
Man City. Yeah, he
is
wanted
he from
him.
Manchester?
Yeah, he's proper Man
Oh,
City.
thank
He is,
God
bless
for
him.
that.
But yeah, no, he's a good lad. Love LB on his channel. So go and show him some love, people. They're doing a watch. He's doing a watch along. I don't know who they're playing. No idea who they're playing. I don't even know who the team is. But they've got pre-season. So go over there, raid the chat. Say Dan Potts raid, 12th man raid. And Bruno, hold that. My thanks to Russ. My thanks to Kenny. Of course, my thanks to Chris as well. We'll be back next week. And I'll be back a little bit later on. And hopefully we'll get some more news very soon. Take care, people. We're out of here. Laters.